Hello and welcome. It's a beautiful summer evening in Wales. Unfortunately, there is no rain. And probably you can hear some of the musical beats from nearby pubs as well because it's weekend. Anyway, let us have focus on whatever we are discussing for last few days. That's leadership. In last discussion, we have talked more in detail about contingency theory of leadership. We talked about what Fiedler has developed on his contingency theory of leadership. We talked about group task situations where the focus was on the relationship between leader and followers or the team members, and the task structure, and also the leader's positional power. And also we have seen that Fiedler's importance on the leadership style and the situations. So Fiedler was one of the important researchers who talked about situation in leadership. And when he was researching on those things in the early 60s to late 70s, or maybe after that also, during that time, like when in the 60s, a lot of other researches was going on. We discussed that also in our previous discussions. One of the discussion was crucial, that was the Ohio State University research. What Ohio State University researchers has told that the leadership has two dimensions. That is the initiating structure, and another one is the consideration. It is more or less same as what we have discussed so far in behavioral theory or functional theory, the task and relationship or the people perspective. However, the important thing that Ohio State University researchers said that so it's not only about the task and the people relationship, and not the either of or of it. Okay, because previous on all the previous theories was focusing more on either or thing of the task or people orientation, and they were kind of linear, okay, or single dimensional or one dimensional style. Leader can be either task oriented or leader can be either people oriented. But Ohio State University researchers, they said that both are important. Like when they are talking about initiating structure in the x-axis of a graph, so they were talking about the importance of the task and leaders focus on the task. And also when they were talking about the considerations in the y-axis of the graph, they were talking about leaders emphasis on the people and relations. And they said that both are important, and leaders usually focus on either relationship or people perspective, or they focus on task. However, there are some leaders who focus on both the things at different degree depending on situation, which was kind of silent at the initial research of Ohio State University. And by that time, different other researches was going on. One of them was Fiedler's theory, and researcher Corman also was talking about leadership. And on that perspective, Paul Hersley and Kenneth Blanchard, they observed that okay, the initiating structure or the task is important, people behavior or the consideration is important, but still it is not clear that whether or on which situation or which consideration the leaders become effective. So that's why they added a new dimension in their theory, that is the effectiveness theory. And when they were doing that, during that time they also taken into consideration of the managerial grid theory, which was also present. So that was a time when managerial and leadership things are coming closer to each other, and they have taken input from the managerial grid as well, and they said that its initiating structure and the consideration from the Ohio State University for the leadership is important, but also there should be another dimension, that is effectiveness, and that needs to be defined. And they tried to define the effectiveness of the leader, and that's why that was kind of path-breaking research in one sense, that they added another dimension on top of initiating structure or task and consideration or people perspective. We will talk more about that in our discussions later on. However, we can start understanding that how the situational theory of leadership gradually evolved, and that was, we can say, that initiating point for the situational theory of leadership. We will talk more about situational theory of leadership in our next discussion. Till then, enjoy your time and enjoy the weekend. Thank you very much.